The hell is that music? What the hell is this camera doing in my face? Who's that ugly motherfucker beside me? What's going on, people of the world? It has literally been a year and a half since I have properly been behind a microphone to discuss sports, talk about my glory days, and be all that I can be. And I'm going to tell you all right now, I'm going to be rusty as shit. Because I tried to do this video on my own this evening. Panicked on like take number 40. Put in a desperate call to Boston's resident nerd, producer Mike, who came through in the clutch. I was like, 10 minutes? He's like, 10 minutes, I'm in. Because that's who Mike is. Michael, I didn't even introduce myself. For those of you who don't know me, which based on my 236 YouTube subscribers, that's a lot of people. I'm Toronto's pride and joy, Rauth. I used to host a popular podcast called Dear Pats Nation. I then joined a network here in Toronto for 2 years, became the director of sports, tanked my career, tried to make a massive comeback on a internet radio station. That went nowhere. I called Mike one day and said, hey, remember how we had 20,000 subscribers, thousands and thousands of views per video, selling merch, all that kind of, yeah, well, it's gone. I fucked it up. It's done. It's finished. It's through. I quit. Mike said, okay. And for 2 years, I silently sat by and watched the Patriots suck. I watched the emergence of Drake May, said nothing, barely even, I don't know, it's called X'd about it. Is that what it was? Twitter when I left. I X'd about it. Got my large scale Twitter account banned. And here I am, back behind a microphone, rusty as fuck, to talk about the NFL draft and the draft picks I know nothing about. And it's just, let's face it, show number one. I don't even know what we're calling this, man. Ray's Sports Rant. Maybe Dear Pats. No, it won't be Dear Pats Nation. I have been teasing that there may be a resurgence of the Dear Pats Nation show. We may have a call in to a certain heartthrob of a certain mass city. He may have said yes. He may have said no. We'll keep that a secret. Stick around for week 1-ish time, and maybe, just maybe, on a different channel at a different time, you'll be able to see myself, producer Mike, and the backstabbing. And the heartthrob do things. Anyways, 3 minutes and 36 seconds on brand. Have not said a word about the Patriots, really have not let Mike speak. I mean, I say I'm rusty, but I think I'm right where I need to be.
Sounds about right.
I found an old video of Who's Got Next. That was another thing I did. Like, we're just talking about career tanking all over the board.
There was a lot of brand shift.
We just, what I did was I took a successful brand that was growing. I was making a lot of money, Mike. I mean, you can see up there, I'm still that Newsbreak Video Creator of the Year. That was the pinnacle. And 1 week later, I joined a network here in Toronto, and everything changed. The content changed. I changed. The money fucking changed, believe me. And I watched sponsorship deals and views and viewers and audience members just go away. We attempted our radio show, Mike. That lasted, I think, 3 weeks.
Yeah, that was a rough one.
And I want to throw out, that was Revolution Radio Canada. There's nothing wrong with Revolution Radio Canada. They're actually a great network. Mm-hmm. The dude who owns it, Craig, had me on his show for a Christmas episode this winter just to chat. Seriously good dude. Just It fucking wasn't for us, Mike.
No, it was a lot of work for a little content.
It was, and man, somebody died, and I played Theory of a Dead Man, and it was the concept of football and sport and music kind of sounded cool, and it was cool in a sense, but because as Mike knows, I actually come from a little bit of a rock and roll background.
Yes, sir.
I'm a music guy. You probably see my Fender amp behind me here. Yeah, I think a part of my tambourine. You can't see my guitars. I tried desperately to get my guitars into the mix, but I couldn't get them in the shot because everything else behind this beautiful wall here with all my music stuff is just a clusterfuck right now. I share. My wife now works from home, and we now share an office and a desk. So it's yeah. Okay, Mike, 6 minutes in, people are like, all right, Ray's back. He's going to talk about the draft. And 6 minutes in, I barely said the word draft and haven't said the name of a draft pick yet. So we're not going to go through all the draft picks tonight. We're going to go through the first 2 days, which is rounds 1, 2, and 3, which is Mr. Will Campbell, offensive tackle out of LSU. Mike, I'll let you announce draft pick number 2 before I fuck up his name, out of Ohio State.
Travion Henderson.
I couldn't remember if it was Trayvon or Travion, and I was like, shit, I can't ask him live on air. And then we're going to look at wide receiver, 69th overall wide receiver out of Washington State, Kyle Williams. Let's start with the first pick, though, Mike. You and I were texting back and forth on draft night, talking about the 4th overall pick, Will Campbell. And I'll tell you what, let's start with this. I was looking at the reaction of Patriot fans on Twitter, or X, it's called X now, right?
Yep, X since, we were last around.
Okay, so I don't even know what shit's called anymore. So I was looking at the reaction on X from Patriots fans, and Patriots fans were not happy. No. And I don't think it had anything to do with the player. It had nothing to do with Mr. Campbell and had everything to do with the fact that the New England Patriots did not select a wide receiver. I think people thought Bill Belichick's gone. The hoodie's finished. Finally, a first-round receiver. Mike Vrabel knows what it's all about. Elliott Wolf's going to get the job done, and it just turned out to be an offensive lineman, which would have been a very Bill Belichick pick, by the way, in this year's draft. By the way, shout out to Bill Belichick for absolutely snubbing Robert Kraft in his book and just being the petty asshole that he is. I will and forever will be a Bill Belichick fanboy because of it. But let's get back to this. So, but you and I texted back and forth. We were actually okay with the pick. Believe it or not, the Boston media, outside of a couple of idiots on the radio you have there, were okay with the pick. A lot of the guys, like the beat guys, were good with the pick, including the Boston Globe guys. I mean, they were all like, hey, I'm going to give you my assessment right now of him as a player, because I did watch a little bit of tape, did read a little bit of assessment. Offensive lineman, feel like I have a little bit of a say in here, and he plays on the left side, which, hey, guess what? I played on the left side, right? Yep. He's a T-Rex. He's got little arms, Mike. So I really do believe he's going to be a guard. I do believe he's going to be standing beside the center, and I know they did draft the center in the late rounds. Maybe he can be something. I do, though, believe he's going to be a guard, not a left tackle, which means the Patriots' left tackle position is still going to be an issue, as it has been for the last 50 years or so.
Yeah, I know, right?
But this kid's got phenomenal footwork. And, Mike, what's the first thing I tell you that I look for in an offensive lineman?
It's your feet.
It's how you move. It's feet. And this kid has phenomenal footwork. His first step is off the charts fast. He can keep up with edge tackles, which is why he played, on the tackle position and not the guard. Him going up against nose guard and linebackers in that guard position, it's going to be a piece of cake for him. There's going to be a little bit of a learning adjustment. Being a guard myself, there's a little bit of a learning adjustment. I remember the first time I lined up and I didn't have somebody lined up over me, which technically is, usually as a tackle, you have somebody lined up over you and you kind of know who your person is. I remember the first time playing a 3-4 in lines, looking up, and there was a defensive tackle over the tackle. There was a tackle over our center. There was a tackle over the right guard or right tackle. And I was like, who the fuck do I block? Middle linebacker, Mike, was actually my position, was actually my look on that play. And I let him run right by me, and he just killed our running back in the backfield. There was a coaching point there, and my coach did did go through with me. I'm going to assume that Mr. Campbell is better prepared than I am, considering he's now in the NFL. But there's a little bit of a learning adjustment going from tackle to guard. Guard is a little bit more of an athletic position. This kid's feet are so good. I want to see him pull. I want to see him pull all the time. And just clearing the way for Ramondre Stevenson to fumble the football 40 times, or Travion Henderson to maybe hold on to the football and get up the field. Mike, you were okay with this. Typically, what I've learned over the last, 3-4 years, Mike, that you and I have become friends. You started as a fan of Deer Pats Nation, joined our Patreon, came in the clutch when Connor stabbed me in the back and left the show. And something that's become very typical of Mike before he was even a host. Back when Mike was nothing but a fan on Patreon, one thing I could always count on was producer Mike just raging on draft night. You texted me and said, "Hey, what do you think?" And I'm like, "Dude, I love the pick." And I was waiting for this is BS. This guy was on the board. That guy was on the board. And your message back to me was you were good with it. So give me a little bit of your assessment on Will Campbell.
Yeah, my less technical assessment here is you needed a tackle. He may not be a long-term tackle, but he was the best, available player at that slot. And the objective of this year is to, keep Drake May upright. To me, I don't want to see him miss a season because of injury. That's the objective.
Wasn't Drake May, I read something like 36 times he was sacked last year?
Yeah, it was something ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And we saw, the one concussion and, a couple near concussions or some battle damage. And, we don't want to see Joe Burrow year 2. We don't want, God forbid, Andrew Luck, what happened with him. I just don't want to see it. I don't want to see it. I want a good offensive line again. I want to be able to run the football. So there you go.
So last year pre-draft, I was reading an article, I believe in the Boston Globe, but it was an interview with Dante Scarnecchia. So it wasn't like, Ben Villan weighing in with his stupidity.
Oh boy.
Or listen to Doug Kyde say something unintelligent. But it was Dante Scarnecchia. And at that point, Mac Jones was still a New England Patriot.
Right.
And they asked, do you draft a quarterback? The Patriots had the third overall pick last year? Yeah, third overall.
Yeah, pick. Third. Yep.
The third overall pick. It's like, do you take a quarterback? And Scarnecchia said, because you had Mac Jones on the roster, you take the best player available. That could be an edge. That could be an offensive lineman. You don't necessarily have to draft a wide receiver or draft a running back you never draft a running back fourth overall, but unless you're Saquon Barkley or something like that. But you're not going to draft. You don't have to take the best player available. Could be a linebacker. It could be a corner. You take the best player available at that position. Now, they ended up taking Drake May, which was probably the right decision. As I screamed to the rooftops, Mac Jones was a bum with a capital B.
Yep.
And you know what? Maybe if Josh McDaniels comes back earlier than he did or doesn't leave, Mac Jones doesn't turn out to be what he is. That's actually why I'm really excited about Drake May being there or being here now, being able to play with Josh McDaniels. Because let's point out that Mac Jones' best season was under Josh McDaniels. Right. And Josh McDaniels had a lot to do with a certain quarterback's development for at least 14 of his 20-year career in New England. So I like the pick. And now so I think you looked there and said, okay, the best player available that fits a need that we need on our team right now is an offensive lineman. I think Will Campbell was the perfect pick.
Yeah, absolutely. I just, anybody who wanted the flashy player, the wide receiver, whatever, I honestly, guys, again, there was such a gaping hole. And in most years, I think you wouldn't be telegraphing something like this. They did a lot of work, I think, to try to sign a free agent offensive lineman and just couldn't. This year, you had to get it. Next year, I think you'll see the crew go, okay, we're not going to telegraph such a big hole unless some kind of crazy injury happens. And they got what they needed, and they got the best person at that spot.
Now, I didn't watch night 2 of the draft. I was busy getting married. So
just a small thing.
Just a small, tiny little thing. So I was getting alerts on my phone.
Yeah.
And when I saw the second pick of the draft, which was the 38th overall pick from the Ohio State University running back
Travion Henderson.
Travion Henderson,
Yes.
I thought to
He'll get it.
myself, offensive lineman in the first round, running back in the second round. Oh my God, Elliot Wolf is calling Bill Belichick and saying, how should we draft or who should we pick this draft? Because this was the most stereotypical New England Patriots first two picks ever. Offensive lineman and a running back. All he needed was a middle linebacker or an edge defender, and it would have been Bill Belichick. However, I am an Ohio State fan.
Mm-hmm.
Drake May is young. Drake May was hit a lot last season. Drake May could be a little shell shocked after being, like running for his life.
Right.
And I'm going to say something that maybe people don't want to hear. Ramondre Stevenson, who I consistently tweeted out about when Twitter existed, when I'd say Ramondre Stevenson is good at football, wasn't great at football last season. I found he couldn't penetrate the line like he could in the past. He couldn't find the hole. He fumbled the football a lot. And I think as a second-year player, or second-year quarterback, I should say, having a solid running back behind you who can also catch the ball a little bit and go for a little bit of a run.
Yep.
I think that Henderson was a great pick. Again, I watched him play for Ohio State. Loved him there. You know me, anytime an Ohio State player is going to come to New England, I'm going to get excited. Shout out Zeke Elliott. I don't care if you're past your prime. Mike still knows that's the most excited I've ever been about a free agent signing was Ezekiel Elliott coming to the Patriots. The greatest running back for the Ohio State Buckeyes, even over my hero, Eddie George. The reason I owned a Tennessee Titans jersey because of Eddie George. I like Henderson. I actually think as much as a wide receiver would have been great, and they did actually get sort of the steal of the draft, possibly at least on paper in a wide receiver, I thought Henderson could have been that much more important, especially since some of the off-season moves they made and bringing in a particular wide receiver that maybe Buffalo Bills fans aren't happy is a New England Patriot now.
Well, just a note on that real quick. According to Buffalo Bills fans, they're not afraid. He's completely washed. So we'll just leave that off to the side for later in the year. This guy, this running back, Ray kind of predicted what my reaction should have been. Normally I would have been, jumping from the rooftops. What are we doing picking a running back with the second round draft choice? But I decided to take a breath. The new Mike, decides to take a breath with things. And, the more I read, the more I looked at the tape, not to be cliche or quote anybody and use that draft lingo, but he's a home run hitter. You can pass him the ball, you can hand him the ball, and he is just smooth. He can slip through the tackles. He can shake a guy. This looks like a guy that could legitimately fit perfectly in a Josh McDaniels offense. And he just looks like he's James White kind of on steroids, a bigger version of James White. He looks like he could be a threat on any down to either catch or run the ball to the house. And I just love it. I actually love the fact that we took this guy.
Yeah, absolutely. And you weren't going to get him in the third round. I'm telling you that right now. He was going, and he was going to go soon. And I liked the pick as well. And yeah, I honestly, Mike, I waited this entire draft for the rage text. Like I waited for it. Guys, if I read you some of the past text messages I had on draft weekend, it's just Mike going off. We have a group chat on X. It's not very active anymore, but it used to be very active, especially on draft draft weekend. And it was just Mike going off for 30 minutes of just how pissed he is at the draft. And I never got that one time. So I think Mike thinks the Patriots may have done it. And let's talk about that other pick that came in the third round, Mr. Kyle Williams out of Washington State, wide receiver. You described him as the darling of the combine and darling of the draft, and his stock just shot up through the roof.
Yep.
Not a typical New England Patriots pick. Typically, they are not going to take the guy that people are talking about, and they took the guy that people are talking about. Now, I fully admitted to you, I knew little to nothing about this kid. I did a little bit of research, not enough. So I'm not even going to pretend to come on here and really give a full assessment of what he is or what he can do. To me, you brought in a receiver, which was probably needed. The draft picked receivers that weren't Bill Belichick receivers continue to be busts in New England.
Yep.
Maybe you just don't draft wide receivers anymore. You know, it's
Allocate all the money towards just getting them in free agency.
yeah, unless they're a quarterback. If they're a former quarterback that you're going to convert to a receiver,
Right.
then that's who you draft them. Jules, right? So, but
Jacoby Myers. Yep.
yeah, those kind of guys. But what are your thoughts on the darling of the draft in the combine, Mr. Kyle Williams?
This was kind of on its face to me. Like, okay, you're getting a wide receiver in the third round. It's kind of become like running back now. You get one every year. You kind of, like next man up, we'll get a depth guy. We'll see what happens. The more I read about this guy, it's like, oh, okay, like this isn't your typical third round receiver. It was more like teams really like him and they were kind of playing this game to see how much value they could get on this pick. And it looks like the Patriots correctly kind of identified like, no, we're going to take him here. Now, looking at the actual tape, going back to Travion Henderson, again, I'm not going to pretend to be an expert on Williams either, but really similar type of movement, obviously running back receiver, but smooth threat with the ball in his hands, yards after the catch. Looks like he can play a little everything, like stretch, not quite the stretch receiver, but more of like a slot that can play on the outside, kind of like Jules or Danny Amendola type of thing. So again, another really good fit here for Josh McDaniels, a versatile, smart player type of thing.
And then I guess the last pick would be Jared Wilson, center out of Georgia. He was also a third round pick. I know I said later in the draft, same round.
Yeah.
Look, I don't know much about the kid. I tried to watch like a little bit of film. Like I'm a film watcher.
Yeah.
I was like watching YouTube clips before I came on here.
Yeah.
Anybody who comes on YouTube, like, I break down film. No, you don't. if you could do it properly, you'd have a job doing it. But I watch YouTube clips. I think a solid third round pick at center. That's what I can say. I don't know enough. I can't sit here and give you the full assessment like I could on Campbell. Campbell, I watched and I read his draft profile and everything about him I liked as a left guard, not a tackle. I know he was drafted as a tackle, but I love him as a guard. I think he could be that Joe Tooney. I really do.
Great analysis there. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, obviously, with David Andrews no longer being a New England Patriot, which was heartbreaking, by the way, Mike and I actually texted about that it was just heartbreaking to see Andrews go. I believe the final Super Bowl winning player on the team.
Joe Cardona is still
there. Oh,
there.
yeah, Cardona, the long snapper.
For like the next 15 minutes, they drafted a long snapper.
I saw Joe. That. I don't think – do you think Joe's going to go?
Yeah, he's gone.
I like Jared Wilson. And then let's go through this really, really quickly, Mike. Right. Yep. So then the fourth round, they take a safety, Craig Woodson out of Carolina. They took a defensive tackle in Joshua Farmer out of Florida State. They took an edge guy out of LSU, Mr. Braden Swinson.
Yep.
So a couple of LSU guys going to be teammates. Kicker Andreas. Oh my God, Borgalis. Connor, our friend Connor Carney over at Connor Commentary, has already predicted he'll be the next Nick Folk for the Patriots. Obviously, the greatest kicker of all time. And there's a lot of people who don't know us, Mike, and are just, whatever. Fuck you. Nick Folk is the GOAT. Marcus Bryant, the offensive tackle out of Missouri. Julian Ashby, the long snapper out of Vanderbilt. And then Kobe Minor, the defensive back out of Memphis. Love it. Out of Memphis. Just
Mr. Irrelevant.
Mr. Irrelevant out of Memphis. What do you give the overall? I mean, honestly, like I look at the positions, look at the players, look at the type of players they built. It's almost as if Elliott Wolf and Josh McDaniels and the coach don't say
Mike
it.
Vrabel.
I know his name, Mike Vrabel. Okay. It's almost as if they're under like a Belichick tree of some sort.
I know, right?
Like but couldn't be. What's your overall grade? I like this draft. From what the little I know on the surface, I like this draft.
I will tell you this, and I am going to again preface this with Angry Mike. So the last couple drafts I've gotten mad about, they haven't been good. They have, in fact, they have not. Not good is an understatement. I like this draft. I think these are some dynamic players. We'll probably talk about some of these later round draft picks, I'm sure, in the future, just because I think they are actually going to be on this roster. I don't think you're going to see anybody that's cut or useless or just like you know, like we couldn't use a third round draft pick, right? Atypical for the Belichick era. No, these guys are going to be here. I think they're going to contribute. I'm going to say this is a solid like B plus. I think they hit all the bases. I think the only knock I'm kind of giving them is going into the draft needing Will Campbell so bad, which again isn't really a reflection on the class. That's more a reflection on Elliott Wolf.
And I'm not educated enough to give a grade, but from like I said, the little I know, I like it as well. Yeah. Mike, thanks for pinch hitting.
Yes, sir. Anytime.
Do you want to do this again?
Are we back?
Like every week, maybe once a week, come out here. Like short like this, like 26 minutes even now is a little too long. Just some 15, 20-minute hits. A little bit of fun. Fuck it. Let's call it Ray Sports Rant. That was popular. That was a good brand. Right? That was one of the successful brands.
That was actually that was your most successful one for a while.
Yeah, it was. I had a guest on all the time. We had a lot of fun. We got a lot of clicks. Again, dude, I don't know how I fucked this up so badly. I say it to Kate all the time. I'm like, I don't understand how I took a successful model and just got wrapped up in I don't know what and just fucked it up. But we're back. We'll see how it works. It's all Ray with no network behind him, kind of directing him where to go, and we'll have some fun. We'll talk about sports. We're going to talk about the New England Patriots. Let's face it. Maybe some other shit will come up. I do want to throw out that I'm watching the Aaron Hernandez TV show now. I know I'm way behind everybody else, but we're on episode 7. We'll be finishing this season tonight. I got a question for you.
Yes, sir.
Is there going to be like a different story every season? Is this like the White Lotus? Like, have you watched it? Have you watched the Mike?
I haven't yet. I've kind of been saving it for like before the season to like kind of juice me up.
Okay, because I want to know like if it's going to be wrapped up this season. I don't know. I'm almost done. He's in jail now, so I assume that this is all going to be wrapped up before the. So it'll be interesting to see what I think season 2 comes out in September. But I'll be honest, like 90% of the shit that they're saying, like I knew about. Some of the shit, about 5%, I didn't know. Like it was kind of new to me, which I like because I read the Aaron Hernandez book that was written about him. I also watched the documentary on Netflix, what I think 2-3 years ago it came out, and there's nothing surprising. It was like the Vince McMahon documentary. Like,
yeah,
I was like, oh, so you're saying that Vince McMahon's a massive dickhead and kind of, brought wrestling to where it wasn't before. It's like there was nothing new that came out of that I didn't know. This story, if assuming that most of it's true, a couple things I didn't know, and about 5% they elaborate a lot on, and I was just like, oh, I didn't realize, like I'd heard about it but didn't know. So
I'll have to check it out.
Anyway, so we're back. I have no sources left, so I'm gonna have to retap into those. Follow me on Twitter. Same handle at DP or XXX. Follow me on X at DPN_Ray. Same handle, same everything. Just new account because I was suspended and just expelled on my other one. No longer exists. Follow Mike at producer_Mike N. No, Mike.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, at producer_Mike N. Look at that. Rusty. I'm getting there, guys. I'll get back to it.
It'll take 2 weeks. He'll be the king of the world again.
I will, and it's going to be 2-hour podcast, even though I say 15, 20 minutes, because I like to hear, for those who don't know me, I like to hear myself talk. I like to be the center of attention. I like to make it about me. I found an old video of who's got next, and the first 15 minutes of the conversation was you guys discussing about how much I love myself. So we'll continue that on. Yeah. So this will be Ray Sports Rant. That's what we'll call it. We'll call it Ray Sports Rant. It'll be out weekly. It'll be myself and Mike. Maybe we'll bring some guests in. I know my boy Kevin Gerard, who we really like and is funny as fuck. him and I have kind of reconnected on X and have been chatting and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, lots changed in a year and a half. I got more tattoos. I got a piercing. I got a ring on my finger. I don't even know how to position the thing. I don't smoke cigarettes anymore. I just vape like a maniac. And yeah, so bring on the hate, guys, because it's been a while and I'm sensitive right now. I don't know if I have the callus to do this anymore, Mike. I think I might be calling you like fuck these guys and fuck the comment section. And now YouTube does a thing that they just show you the comments now. I can't even like hide from them like I used to.
Don't worry, it'll take about 3 weeks. I'll just keep texting you, remember who you were.
Oh, what a fucking job. What a way to kill me to finish the show. All right, guys. Thanks a lot for tuning in to Ray Sports Rant. That's what we'll call it. Appreciate you. And yeah, keep an eye out. Week 1, the return, maybe, of Dear. I think so. I think it's the return of Dear Pats Nation. I'm just waiting for
confirmation.
I got confirmation. Now I'm doubting it. So I don't know. Fuck it.
We'll get him a conventional oven.
All right. All right. Till next week. Take care. See ya.